Story 1. Not having many emotionally available older role models makes it challenging to discuss feelings and emotions in front of other men, as it tends to be dismissed, particularly by the baby boomer generation. Story 2. The crying. I can't speak for all men, but this is definitely something I do alone in my room while listening to sad music. Story 3. Pressure of performance. There is a broadly shared notion that a man who does not perform well in some way is considered invisible. That's just how it is, but when children or women struggle, people seem more inclined to demand action. This can lead to secondary effects like feelings of guilt when staying at home sick, taking time off, or simply relaxing. On the other hand, there are shaming tactics when a man engages in leisure activities such as gaming. This is not seen as a man enjoying his free time but rather as being immature. Overall, this pressure to perform and the expectation of productivity appear to be more focused on men. Story 4. It often feels like we are constantly treading on eggshells. For example, a woman was struggling with the fuel cap on her car when I went to get fuel. I deliberately didn't help her, as there's a good chance I would be accused of being inappropriate. Taking my children to places without my wife can be challenging. My daughter attends a running club every week, and it has become our weekend routine. While it's fine now, at the beginning, I felt the need to justify my presence, as if I were doing something wrong. I don't always know immediately what to do or say. When I return home from work and hear about the day's arguments with the kids, I need a moment to process what has been said. It doesn't mean I don't care. My desire for quiet and to refrain from speaking or thinking has no reflection on you or anything else. I just need to switch off for a while. Adjusting my clothes is not fiddling. It's simply that I am uncomfortable. Story 5. The safety of other women is important, and being in close proximity to them should not make them feel uneasy. The number of times I have made women feel uncomfortable simply by being nearby makes me feel I should disappear. Story 6. The rejection and isolation. The lack of validation. We are always aware that no one cares about us and that we are expendable. The significant amount of work and effort we put in to get women interested in us, just to get noticed. Story 7. The bottomless pit of despair, cold loneliness, and the expectation to endure without relying on anyone for help because that is considered weakness. When you try to explain this experience to female friends and family, you are often talked down to for not being more emotionally vulnerable in the ways women process emotions. What they do not realize is that it actually harms men socially who attempt to process emotions in the same way. Therapy seems to be the only solution that I can identify. Story 8. We are invisible. We can walk among the world and not have anyone open a door for us or acknowledge us in any way for an entire day. Probably sounds amazing at first until you live your entire life that way. Story 9. The stress is overwhelming. People seldom offer help, even when I directly request it. They rarely make accommodations, despite my specific requests. I often have to find solutions on my own and implement them without complaint. I cannot speak for all women's experiences, but the individuals I collaborate with seldom face these challenging tasks alone or are expected to do so. The situation is even more difficult outside of work. Story 10. The awkwardness of male public restrooms creates less tension than a courtroom moments before the foreperson reads the murder trial verdict. The discomfort of testicles sticking to your thigh on hot, muggy days is unpleasant. The ease of buying clothes is often overlooked. We evolved to dislike leaving our comforts behind, so we are well adapted to hauling all the groceries into the house in one trip. We often feel scared, and we frequently fear telling anyone about it. Being raised to believe that anger is the only acceptable way of expressing feelings leads to expressing everything that bothers us through anger. Most of us do not care about dominance. We would rather be left alone. Sometimes we are quiet not because we are deep in thought or feeling bad, but simply because we have nothing to say at the moment. Spending time with other men without discussing everything in our lives can be extremely freeing and relaxing. Story 11. Not every erection is the result of being sexually aroused. Sometimes we may experience an erection for no specific reason. Story 12. Have you ever needed to use the restroom quickly, only to find a stain on the front of your pants 5 minutes later? It's hard to know how many people have seen that. Instant embarrassment. Story 13. Loneliness, depression, anger, and the feeling of not being enough can be overwhelming. It often leads to suppressing these emotions and continuing on. This can be exacerbated by a lack of people to talk to or feeling that others do not genuinely care. Expressing these feelings may result in being labeled as a problem, with the expectation to simply resolve them. Story 14. I often receive strange looks when I'm out with my son at parks or other entertainment places. I'm a young single dad. If my son isn't right next to me, people seem to wonder why I am around their children. I'm just here playing with my son, like everyone else. I didn't come here to harm anyone's child. Additionally, I haven't had a genuine hug in many years. I usually only get brief side hugs from acquaintances. My son hugs me, but at just 5 years old, he can't fully wrap his arms around me. I long for more physical touch, and even a simple hug would be better than nothing. Story 15. Suicidal ideation arises from the expectation to have solutions for everything and to have life completely figured out. Many do not understand men's mental health and often do not show concern if a man were to die tomorrow. Men are expected to endure disrespect from women, but when they defend themselves, they may be labeled as misogynists for standing their ground. A gentleman may feel that if a woman chooses to behave like a man, she should also be treated like one. Men often feel unsafe around women due to the prevalence of false accusations. It is a common experience for many men to have been falsely accused at some point. Men experience pain and love too. A man who lacked love in his upbringing often yearns to give love back to his partner, especially if he has fallen deeply for them. Men may feel clueless, particularly if they have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They do not intend harm. They simply require guidance and understanding, especially when feeling overstimulated. At heart, men are still boys who crave a partner willing to engage in adventurous activities, such as exploring, camping, hunting, or building something together. They also enjoy hobbies like video games or tinkering with technology, which help them stay grounded. When a man finds a pet he loves, he will cherish that bond even after the pet has passed away, mourning the loss deeply. It is a connection that never fades. Story 16. Our direct messages are empty. I understand that women often receive unwanted attention and inappropriate messages. It can be difficult to feel alone when you thought male friends were genuine, only to discover they were waiting for an opportunity when you were single. Sometimes I wish I experienced some negative attention as well. Story 17. There are numerous problems that need to be solved without her noticing. To her, it seems the only issue standing between everything is great and it is terrible is him not putting the seat down. Story 18. Very rarely is my brain not thinking. I absolutely love those moments. My wife thinks I am depressed or feeling low. It's hard to explain to her. Story 19. All the issues men want to address but do not because acknowledging them brings them too close to inappropriate individuals. Story 20. Sometimes we go alone to a park at night or sit in a car and cry for a few minutes. No one will ever know about it. Story 21. The constant loneliness is not merely depression. It is sufficient to obstruct or prevent sustained happiness. Story 22. For many men I work with, there are moments in the office when women stop to talk about everything except the reason for the interruption. It can be infuriating, making you want to shout, "Please stop talking about Becky's cat and your weekend with your high school friend you haven't seen in 5 years. Just tell me what you need." We know better than to express our frustration. So we nod, fake a smile, and let out a forced laugh or a comment like, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny," while we quietly rage inside about how annoying the situation is. Story 23. I'm constantly on the lookout for dangers, especially when I'm with my family or around women and children. As a man, I'm expected to handle emergencies that may arise, so I always have to be aware. As a result, I'm almost never completely relaxed. Story 24. Women were surprised that many men are interested in Roman history, which is just part of what men enjoy. Many men are interested in things such as cars, sports, The Lord of the Rings, Vikings, Greece, and classic philosophy. Women often think they know enough about men, so they tend not to ask. It's great that you did. Story 25. This might not apply to all men, but in my life, there is a constant underlying whisper of violence that dictates the conduct men apply towards other men. Story 26. The attention and opportunities an average man receives from the opposite sex are significantly different compared to those of an average woman. This disparity is evident not only in sexual relationships but also in the likelihood of receiving help and support. Story 27. Men are less verbal in their daily lives, and excessive talking can be overwhelming or cause us to disengage. Please reduce the amount and speed of your talking as we struggle to keep up. I honestly didn't hear or forgot about the task you assigned immediately after I got home from work within a 10-minute period. It's not that I don't care. Write it down on a list, and we will check the list periodically and cross off completed items. If something is still not done after a week, highlight it with a yellow highlighter instead of verbally reminding me. Story 28. The amount of work we must do to be interesting to women is significant. Body positivity has not reached us. Women are beautiful at any size, while men often seem to be considered beautiful only if they have abs, money, and excellent social skills. Story 29. We are expendable and invisible. Have a problem? Vent in your car because it is no one's responsibility to deal with you, and you are of no value to anyone when you are being emotional. God forbid you let any woman other than your mother see you. If you find a good one, keep her and hold on tight. If she is not a good one, her friends will hear about it or it will be kept in reserve to be used against you when she has nothing else. Story 30. I hold back from speaking in meetings. I actively try to say less to avoid being perceived as overly loud or pushy, or as talking over a woman. Essentially, everything we do is moderated. Story 31. Whenever I see people hug each other, it mentally hurts me so much that it results in physical chest pain for a few minutes because I can hardly remember the last time I received a genuine hug. That was in 2020. You are not allowed to walk behind women in the same direction because they accuse you of being a creep. I am not a creep. Please let me exist. As I stated in another comment, you are not allowed to talk to women or children or help them without being accused of being a creep, pervert, or pedophile. Story 32. Dealing with sexism regularly while people justify and applaud those who engage in it is challenging. Story 33. Dealing with high expectations from everyone simply for being a man and coping with a lack of physical touch. Story 34. I have not encountered a woman who understood the joy and relaxation of nothingness or even had the ability to achieve it. Story 35. Security personnel, not older children, oversee individuals. We ensure the door is locked. The stray animals are not rabid. We look ahead to assess potential hazards. We monitor for slippery sidewalks and guide people around them. We check vehicle mechanics and make necessary repairs. We watch over women and children to ensure their safety, preventing them from approaching flocks of geese or deep water. When we perceive a potential danger, we position ourselves between it and them. We take these actions because we care for our family and friends, and it is our responsibility to protect mothers and their children. Story 36. I work hard every day. Not a single day goes by without me fantasizing about not having to go to the office and being able to leave on time. Story 37. It's permanent, so don't do anything that anyone could interpret as creepy. It's simple. Don't be creepy. Most guys aren't. For example, don't even look at the little kid riding their bike near you. Story 38. I probably need to stop lurking in this subreddit. My Cancer personality hurts for you a little too much. Goodbye, everyone. Story 39. How many wipes does it take? Seriously, have you ever picked up dog waste from grass? I am single-handedly guilty of deforestation. Story 40. The part when we are tasked to do something we really do not want to do, but we do it because if not, it will not get done. Story 41. Eye contact is significant. A man wouldn't be able to walk 500 meters, making eye contact with every person he passed, without getting into at least one verbal or physical confrontation. My wife's perspective changed when I shared a situation with her in real time. I made brief eye contact with a man, I looked away, but when I looked back, he was still staring. I felt like this man intended to attack me, so now I was staring back because I didn't want to give him an opportunity to hit me. My wife noticed something was wrong, and the conversation went like this. What's wrong? I think I'm going to fight that guy. Why? Because I looked at him. Men can often be their own worst enemy. Story 42. Some men experience sexual assault or rape, sometimes even weekly, depending on their jobs. I have had to leave workplaces, careers, social events, and friendships because, at times, women have sexually assaulted me. My emotions are often invalidated despite my masculine appearance. I am only permitted to express anger or sexual desire. Many men do not want to form close friendships with me, no matter how friendly I am. Lately, men have been acting strangely around me, and women have become increasingly cruel and abusive, yet they have no issues dating me. I am constantly amazed by how poorly women handle rejection when I have to turn them down. Story 43. I'm fortunate not to feel this way now, as my sons have grown into young men and my business is more successful and still growing than I ever thought it would be. However, 18 to 20 years ago, after long exhausting days, to motivate myself to do my best again the next day, I would go to my toddler son's room after they were asleep, kiss their foreheads, and say aloud, "The wolf is still at the door." My wife never experienced that feeling, I'm sure. She still says, I never asked him if he had a good day because I knew he didn't. One day, and I don't remember when, the wolf was gone. It's worth noting that I grew up in relative poverty. Relative in that we always had a roof over our heads and plenty to eat. I was determined to prevent my sons from ever feeling need, at least while they were in my care. Story 44. Other than thank you for helping me, I have received an average of 1 compliment per year throughout my life. My partner told me last week that she liked a new pair of shorts I bought. The last compliment I received before that was in 2022 when a woman at my local pub told me I had a nice figure. Those are the only 2 compliments I have received so far in the 2020s. Story 45. The only physical touch I receive these days is hugs from my mom. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have nothing. I'm female, and the lack of genuine physical touch is not only a male problem. It's an epidemic of the digital age. We are all lonely and in desperate need of a cuddle session with a genuine person who cares. Story 46. Sometimes they should honestly stop talking. Let me have some peace and quiet to lower my stress levels. It's not that it's annoying. It's more about wanting some relief and tranquility. That's why I play goalie. It's quiet, and I get to talk to myself. Story 47. Women actively avoid eye contact with me in public. Can't be anything I'm doing because they never even look. It's the polar opposite of feeling watched. You feel marked and ostracized. I'm not sure which is worse. Story 48. If you have many women in your life, such as a wife, mother, sisters, and friends, they will often share their problems with you seeking help. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.